The more I watched this show, the more I realized I was right in my original review. Just drop the whole season so we can binge watch it. So in episode 6, we finally get the reveal of Tick's military service during the Korean War, and we also get to see his horrific encounter with the Kamiho, which is a Korean fox spirit, which is a lot more demonic than his counterparts in China and Japan, which are more of trickster spirits. Because in the Korean folklore, the Kamiho eats the body parts of humans, devours their memories and their souls. In this case, the Kamiho takes the form of Ji-ah, played by Jamie Chung, and she's a beautiful Korean girl going to university, studying to get a degree to bring back a little bit of respect to her family, because her and her mom were abandoned by her father, and in that culture that's highly frowned upon. And early on in the episode, it's revealed that her mother is the reason that she became a Kamiho, because her mother's husband used to rape her when she was a kid, and it's implied that he may have seriously hurt her or killed her, which led the mom to go seek the shaman to turn her daughter into a Kamiho so that she could get some revenge. And she has to consume the souls of 100 men in order to turn back into a human. Now, Atticus's unit is stationed in Daegu, which is the hometown of Ji-ah, and by the time him and her cross paths, she's already consumed 99 men. So she only needs one more to become a human. And Tick's unit realizes that there's someone on Ji-ah's shift who's a spy. So they find out it's her best friend, and of course they take her, torture, and kill her, which pisses off Ji-ah. So she decides that Tick is going to be her 100th soul. But before she can fully enact her plan, her and Tick kind of realize they got a thing for each other, and there is a lot more depth to them than what we know, and they end up starting to like each other and then eventually fall in love. Ji-ah is extremely conflicted at this point, because on the one hand, she only needs one more soul to turn back human, which would please her mom, because that was the whole point of her mom getting the Kamiho put in her anyway. And she wants to take Tick's soul because Tick took her best friend from her. But on the other hand, she's fallen in love with Tick, because she was always told that no one would feel for you and you would never have feelings. But she's like, man, you know, I felt for my best friend and she felt for me, and I love Tick and he loves me. So she has a huge internal battle going on. Tick finds out that she's a Kamiho in the worst way possible. They're having sex, and then I guess she like drops her guard a little bit, and the tails start coming out on their own, and they're getting ready to devour my man and take his soul and kill him. And they actually do. And even though Ji-ah is fighting to stop it, they actually latch on to him, and he's about to die. But she's able to stop it, but not before she sees into his future that says that he's gonna die. So he's, of course, terrified to the point that he's running out. He's like, what happened? What are you? And she's just trying to tell him, don't go home, you're gonna die. And that's important, because if you look back at the earlier episodes, Tick would always call somebody, but he'd never say nothing. You just hear a woman's voice on the other end. And then at the end of the last episode, he called back and he was like, how did you know? How did you know? And we find out that he was talking about Ji-ah, because when the tails almost consumed Tick, again, she saw the premonition of him dying, and I guess now it's starting to line up after he deciphered Titus's pages. And now that we got the synopsis out the way, let's dive into the episode just a little bit deeper. For starters, let's talk about Tick. In this episode, we find out that his name is Atticus, or at least I found out his name was Atticus, because they may have said it in early episodes and I may have missed it or just forgot about it, I don't know. But when they were saying Atticus in this episode, it took a couple times for me to realize they talking about Tick, because throughout the show they're always calling him Tick, and I just assumed it was a nickname that was given to him while he was at war or as a kid or whatever. And I guess it never really occurred to me, like, what did I think his name was? Besides that small, relevant yet irrelevant point, this episode also serves to show us a little bit more into the mind of Tick, because we see that he went to war because he was trying to escape the harsh realities of home, being in a country that didn't care for him because of the color of his skin, and then having a father who he wasn't close to and was always trying to make him into something that he wasn't. And then we also got to see the effects of the war, because he had to do things that he didn't want to do, like murdering and torturing people. So we get to see that Tick is this hard character because he's been through so much, and he's not mean, he's not shut off on purpose. It's just that nobody ever really truly understands him, so he just keeps to himself most of the time. And it was good to see in this episode that they opened up and shed a little bit more light on his character, because we already knew he had layers, but they just added even more with this episode. Now, at the start of this episode, I had no idea what a Kamiho was. Now, I am familiar with fox spirits and nine-tailed fox spirits and things of that nature, but I'm not that versed in Korean folklore or culture. So when they first revealed the tales of the Kamiho when Ji-ah was having sex with the guy at the beginning of the episode, I gotta say I was extremely creeped out, because they came out and they looked more like tentacles than they did like tails. It looked like they were spiky yet kind of hairy, and they reminded me actually a lot of a tarantula's leg. And then you add the fact they had teeth on the end. I was like, yeah, man, that's some stuff straight out your nightmare. But after being revealed as the nine-tailed fox spirit, the question that I have is, what next? And what I mean by that is, she has 99 souls that she's already devoured. She only needs one more. So if she devours that one soul, and of course it's not going to be Tick, but if she does and she turns back to a human, what happens to all those memories of those 100 people? Does she still obtain those in her mind, or do they leave with the Kumiho spirit? Does she still feel the same way about Tick, or is it the fox that loves Tick? So I'm really eager to see where that's going, and I'm also eager to see the full reveal of the Kumiho, because all we get to see is the tails. And even though they're gross and creepy, I'm wondering how the whole thing looks and if they'll ever show it to us. And this also serves a big part to the overall story, because like I said, he always made those calls to G.I. throughout the earlier episodes. So now is she gonna be forced to come to the States because she loves him and he loves her, and now she knows that he knows that her premonition was right, and is she gonna be tied in with the Braithwaite somehow and Titus's pages? It's a lot more questions than answers, and that's what I'm really enjoying about this show, because I've said it 1,000 times and I'm gonna say it again. The intrigue value in this show is top notch. And besides the fact that now they've tied G.I.'s character into the story by showing us the backstory of her and who she is and her connection to Tick, and answering the question of who Tick has been talking to on the phone, I'm also curious to see what's going to happen when she comes in to help, and now we have G.I., Letty, and Tick, because he clearly loves G.I., but now he's creeped out by her because he finds out she's this spirit demon fox that eats people. But now he loves Letty, and Letty's tied into all this shenanigans too, because I mean, she was killed at the Braithwaite's mansion and she came back, and she's been an integral part in helping him decipher the pages, but he also had this deep past with G.I. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen when all those moving pieces come together in one scene. But I think this last episode was another good one. It gave us insight into Tick's military service. It introduced us to another heavy hitter in the story. And you know, it just keeps on answering questions that weren't answered for us earlier. I mean, it's good to know that that's who he was talking to on the phone. It's good to know that her premonition is now tying into what he's currently doing. And it's just building on the ever-expanding universe of Lovecraft Country. So for the comment convo today, I want y'all to tell me who y'all think that Tick is going to choose when they all come together. Is he going to choose the sexy, scary Kumiho, or is he going to choose Letty? I personally think that he's going to choose Letty, because the Kumiho is just a little bit too out there. And I really feel like if she takes that last soul, she's going to become human, and the Kumiho is who loved Tick. But anyway, whatever you think, comment below and let me know. Now, as always, if you liked this video and you thought it rocked, like, comment, and subscribe to see more from me, Mike Proc. Later.